Cleveland and Columbus sports fans. This is Jen B, and you're tuned in live to the show of the land right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So tonight we're going to talk about the Browns. Is Myles Garrett human? And who the hell is our quarterback? We will also talk about some college football. Columbus Blue Jackets started their season, and it's well underway. So we will talk about how that is going. We will talk about the Cavs finishing out their preseason, the final roster, and their upcoming games with the season opening for the Cavs tomorrow. We will talk about the Cruise final match of the regular season and the upcoming playoffs. And then there are a couple of Guardians updates as well. So let's get started with the Browns. So what is happening with these Browns, right? It's been a crazy couple of weeks. So the week started out with Kareem Hunt, Greg Newsome, Deshaun Watson, Anthony Walker. I think that's about it. Oh, not practicing. So Kareem Hunt had a thigh injury. Greg Newsome had a hamstring injury. Anthony Walker was in concussion protocol. Deshaun Watson was the shoulder issue. It was just a little up in the air there. And then Deshaun Watson started practicing on Thursday. The other guys were also practicing on Thursday. They were limited, but they were practicing. And then Deshaun Watson had a full practice on Friday. So it sounded like he was trending in the right direction and he was going to be good to go, but they did come out and say that they wanted to see how he reacted after having a full practice to see how his shoulder was doing on Saturday. But so they did end up elevating PJ Walker from the practice squad. They signed Deion Jackson, running back, to the active roster, and they also activated a linebacker, Charlie Thomas III, from the practice squad. It was a little up in the air there. So didn't know what was going to happen when they activated PJ Walker. Everybody kind of just assumed that Deshaun Watson wasn't going to be a go, but it turned out that he did get the start. And DTR was actually inactive for the game, so PJ Walker was QB2. Joel Bitonio returned to practice after his knee scope, and he was good to go. Harrison Bryant was also on the injury report with a hip injury. He did end up being active for the game as well. And Dustin Hopkins was awarded AFC Special Teams Player of the Week for Week 6. So that's pretty awesome for him. And then Michael Dunn was added to the IR with a calf injury. Taki was ruled out with a hamstring injury, and Tony Fields ended up playing in his place. That is about all that happened before the game. So then it was game time. And started really well. Not really well. Deshaun Watson was not throwing well, but Jerome Ford was running well. Had a 69-yard touchdown run to start the game, so that was pretty awesome. So we started out winning 7-0. Then the Colts got the ball, marched right down the field, and scored a touchdown. So then it was 7-7. Then Deshaun Watson threw an interception, and the defense held the Colts to 3 and out. And then uh, Minshew got a touchdown on the Colts' next drive, bringing the score to 14-7. And then Deshaun Watson got hit pretty hard on an errant throw that was initially ruled an interception but was reviewed and determined to be incomplete. He hit his head pretty hard and just like slammed flat back on his back on the ground. So he went out, went into the medical tent, and eventually came back out and then was standing on the sidelines and then went back into the tent. Found out in the post-game press conference that he had originally gone in to have his shoulder rechecked because he felt like it had been jarred when he got hit. But the independent neurologist insisted that he also be checked for a concussion, so that is why he went back into the tent, was for the concussion evaluation. He was cleared of a concussion, but Kevin Stefanski chose not to put him back in the game. So P.J. Walker it was for the rest of the game. Then Myles Garrett had a strip sack, and Anthony Walker recovered. P.J. Walker went in at quarterback, of course. And Kareem Hunt took a direct snap for a touchdown run, tying it back up at 14. Then Indianapolis got in field goal range, and Myles Garrett blocked the field goal, and it was recovered by Denzel Ward. And then Dustin Hopkins kicked a 44-yard field goal. Then Minshew had another touchdown run. So it was 17-14, and then 21-17. Then Jordan Elliott had a sack for a 6-yard loss. Then Myles Garrett had another strip sack in the end zone, recovered by Tony Fields for a touchdown, bringing the score to 24-21. Then Dustin Hopkins hit a 54-yard field goal, bringing the score to 27-21, and that was the score at halftime. After halftime, Denzel Ward got an interception, and Dustin Hopkins kicked another 54-yard field goal. Then Jonathan Taylor had a touchdown run, and now it was 30-28. Then Indianapolis kicked a field goal to take the lead again, 31-30. Then P.J. Walker threw an interception at the 2-yard line that was intended for Cooper. And it didn't end up being that big of a deal. It was kind of like a punt, but interception nonetheless. And then it was announced that Denzel Ward was being evaluated for a concussion and that Alex Wright was also out, but they didn't say why. It turned out he was also being evaluated for concussion and is now in concussion protocol. Then Dustin Hopkins kicked a 58-yard field goal to bring it to 33-31, so the Browns back in the lead. Then Pittman scored a touchdown, 38-33. Colts back in the lead. Then the Browns got the ball back with about a minute 40 something, 46, 47, something like that. And managed to get down the field with a couple of penalties, but they got down the field. So they have 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. They tried 3 different pass plays. Now, mind you, there was only like 40 seconds left, and they had no timeouts. So there was a reason for the pass plays. They didn't run it intentionally because they didn't want to use all the clock to run the ball and then waste it down if they didn't get it, to spike it to stop the clock. So 3 incomplete passes. One of them was really well defended. At least one of them was just poorly thrown ball by P.J. Walker. But then on 4th and goal with 15 seconds left in the game, they hand it off to Kareem Hunt, and he gets the touchdown. So the Browns go up 39-38. They attempt a 2-point conversion with 15 seconds left on the clock. And the conversion was no good. So the Colts got the ball back with 15 seconds, and I believe they had 2 timeouts, maybe one, might have been one. So they were, trying to get in field goal range so that they could win it. And Minshew fumbled, and it was recovered by Obo Okoronkwo, and the game was over. So during the game, Kareem Hunt had his 2 touchdowns, which were his 50th and 51st career touchdowns. So good for him. And Dustin Hopkins set the NFL record for having hit at least one 50-plus yard field goal in 5 consecutive games. Myles Garrett now has 82 sacks, passing Reggie White for most sacks before one's 28th birthday since 1982, when individual sacks started being recorded, and that is per Adam Schefter. Dustin Hopkins is currently 7 for 7 on 50-plus yard field goals, which is ironic because when we signed him, all the talk was he's not that great from 50-plus, but he's pretty solid less than 50. So, hey, we'll take it. 7 for 7 is pretty good. Jerome Ford did go out towards the end of the game. He was limping off the field. There was no update during the game, but it was determined that he has a high ankle sprain. It is considered low grade. So last report I heard is he's expected to be out 1 to 2 weeks. And then, as I said earlier, Alex Wright is in concussion protocol. And then just today, the Browns made a couple of moves. They signed Jordan Wilkins to the practice squad. Yesterday, they waived Deion Jackson. And the Rams signed kicker Lucas Havrisik off the Browns practice squad. So we lost a guy and added a guy to the practice squad. And then, like I said, they waived Deion Jackson. I have not heard anything about where things stand with Jordan Kanasic, so they could be keeping that roster spot open for him so that they don't have to cut somebody else, or they could be intending to add PJ Walker or another quarterback to the active roster. There is no word yet on where things stand with Deshaun Watson's shoulder. He was set to have another MRI to see if there was further damage done on the hit or where things stood. But as of right now, they're saying he's day-to-day. So we're back on that roller coaster. But as it stands right now, PJ Walker cannot be elevated from the practice squad anymore. He's already had his 3 elevations for the season. So in order to use him at quarterback, they would have to sign him to the active roster. So I don't know what's going to happen there. The trade deadline is also fast approaching, a week from today, actually. So we'll see what happens there, and if the Browns do anything at running back or quarterback. But things are very up in the air in both of those spots right now because, like I said, Kareem Hunt was playing with a thigh injury. Now Jerome Ford is out. I mean, Pierre Strong's been playing pretty well when he's gotten the chance. He hasn't been in there very much, but when he's gotten the chance, he's played pretty decently. But they're down to a hobbled Kareem Hunt and Pierre Strong right now on the active roster. So we'll see. We will see. But that is going to wrap things up with the Browns. So I am going to take a short break, and then I'll be back to talk some college football on the Show of the Land with Jen B on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Damn! going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
Hey yo, what's up? It's your man Bishop, the voice of This Is KC Sports, the show where we go over the Chiefs, the Royals, KC Current, Sporting KC, MU, and oh yeah, if we got time, we'll even throw in some of that KU stuff from my people on the 913 South. Come and hang out with us every Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pop culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
You're back live with Jen B on the Show of the Land, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So we're going to talk some college football now. We're going to start with the Ohio State. Cade Stover, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Denzel Burke all received AP All-American Mid-Season recognition. Per PFF College, DT Tyleek Williams is the highest-rated defensive tackle in the Big Ten at 83.2. Offensive lineman Donovan Jackson was nominated for the Werfel Trophy. And Ohio State, number 3, Ohio State, played number 7, Penn State, this week. The Ohio State defense forced a 3 and out on Penn State's first drive, then marched right down the field and stalled in the red zone and settled for a field goal. So they were up 3-0. Then Penn State tied it up with the field goal, 3-3. Mayan Williams was back after missing the game last week. Igbuka was dressed but limited, and I do not believe he played. I did not see him on the field. McCord started the game out well, but after the first drive was really, really struggling. Mayan Williams had a touchdown run to bring the score to 10-3. Then Penn State hit a field goal right before the half to bring it to 10-6. Then Penn State had a goal line stand to prevent Ohio State from scoring. Devin Brown was injured on the drive and carted to the locker room. It has been reported that it is a sprained ankle. Didn't look like a sprained ankle, I'll tell you that. I thought he broke his collarbone, to be honest with you. But they're saying sprained ankle, so that's what we'll go with. Then Ohio State held Penn State to a 3 and out, and then muffed the punt, and Penn State recovered. However, Penn State was held to 0 for 11 on third down conversions until the end of the third quarter. So they didn't get very far. Then Marvin Harrison had his 12th career 100-plus yard receiving game. And Ohio State kicked another field goal, bringing the score to 13-6. Then McCord to Harrison for a touchdown, bringing it to 20-6. And then the final was 20-12. And I honestly don't know where those 6 points came from because I fell asleep. Taryn in the chat says the Ohio State-Penn State football game was a weird one, but the Buckeyes grinded it out. It was a weird one. It was very weird. Kyle McCord did not look like himself at all. I don't know what was going on with him, but he was a little off. I mean, he did only have one of his normal starting receivers, so that could have had something to do with it, but it was weird. And the running back issues aren't helping things, so they're very much like the Browns, except they have the same quarterback every game. But yeah, they have that running back issue, and then the receivers they're great when they can play, but they keep getting hurt. So, it is what it is. But Ohio State is at Wisconsin next week. Akron played Bowling Green and lost 41-14. And next week they will be playing Kent State. Kent State played Buffalo and lost 24-6. And they will be at Akron next week. Youngstown is ranked number 25 and played Illinois State and won 41-38. And next week they will be at Missouri State. Ashland played Lake Erie and won their homecoming game 31-19. And next week they will be playing Thomas More. Number 2, Mount Union played Wilmington and won 69-0. And next week we'll be playing Otterbein. Number 14, John Carroll played Capital and won 63-17. And next week we'll play Muskingum. Hiram played Oberlin and got their first win of the season, 27-19. And next week we'll be at College of Worcester. Heidelberg played Marietta and lost 37-14. And we'll be playing Wilmington next week. I mean, Mount Union killed Wilmington, so maybe Heidelberg can win that one. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But, yeah. So, that's about it for college football. Gonna do the Guardians updates real quick because there's not very many of them. As soon as I find them, here they are. So with the Guardians, Stephen Kwan, Andres Jimenez, and Jose Ramirez have been named finalists for the Gold Glove at their respective positions. And if you don't know, Stephen Kwan is left field, Andres Jimenez is second base, and Jose Ramirez is third base. Prospect Kyle Manzardo got 4 pitches on Tuesday's Fall League game and hit 2 home runs, one of which was for 471 feet. So, like I said last week, hopefully he keeps it up and he can give us some batting next season. Our rookie trio of pitchers, Tanner Bybee, Gavin Williams, and Logan Allen, combined for a 3.35 ERA, the best by a rookie trio in the last 10 years. And Stephen Voigt, bullpen coach for the Mariners, has emerged as a serious candidate for the manager position, and he is scheduled to interview at some point this week. I also just saw earlier today that they did interview 3 people from inside the organization. John McDonald, which I spoke about last week or the week before, who is their minor league coordinator. Their batting coach was also interviewed. I don't recall his name at the moment, but he was interviewed. And then there was like a front office person that they also interviewed for the manager position. But, as of right now, no decisions have been made, but reports yesterday were saying that Stephen Voigt is the front runner. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's going to wrap things up for that, and I am going to take another short break, and then we will talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets right here on the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Do you love college football? And do you want to hear a college football show dedicated to all that is college football, including junior college and the CCCAA and the NJCAA, the NAIA, and the NCAA, including Division III, Division II, Division I AA in the FCS, and Division I Single A in the FBS? Well, then look no further. Join myself, Larry B., and my colleagues, Mr. H-Town Blake Henley, and Mr. Christian Espinoza, each week during the college football season for the latest in college football on 3 and Out College Edition, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, it's your boy, the SoCal Saint, the host of the premier professional wrestling podcast online today, the IE Elite Wrestling Show. If you're a fan and have a passion for the world of professional wrestling, this is the show for you. I take you inside the ropes with all the athleticism, high-flying, and hard-hitting action, and then we take it backstage with all the backstage drama and backstabbing that goes on in the world of professional wrestling today. If something's going on in the world of professional wrestling, rest assured, the SoCal Saint knows what's going on, and he's going to let you know too. If you're a fan, check us out every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on IE Sports Radio. The IE Elite Wrestling Show, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling, on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports. Check us out.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No, not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on the defining moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
You're back live with Jen B on the Show of the Land on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So the Blue Jackets played a couple of games this past week. They played the Calgary Flames on Friday. Friday afternoon, Elvis Merzlikins was not feeling all that great, so Spencer Martin ended up getting the start at goal. Zach Werenski returned from the IR. After the first period, it was 0-0. Then Sean Corrali scored a goal in the second period, his first of the season, bringing the score to 1-0. And it was 1-0 after the second period. Then Justin Danforth scored a goal. And he also had an assist on the earlier goal, which gave him 2 points for the game, which was his first career multi-point game. And Calgary scored a goal towards the end of the game, They just scored a goal. It was 2-1. Then Zach Werenski scored a goal for the Blue Jackets, bringing the score to 3-1, and that was the final. At the end of the game, there was a run-in between Patrick Laine and Rasmus Anderson. I did not see it, so I'm not 100% sure exactly what happened, but Patrick Laine ended up injured. He is now on the IR, and it was retroactive to Friday. And Rasmus Anderson has been suspended for 4 games for the hit. So, yikes. Then Saturday, they played the Minnesota Wild in Minnesota. Justin Danforth had a goal with about 11 minutes left to go in the first period, bringing the score to 1-0. And it was 1-0 at the end of the first period. Then Kent Johnson scored a goal off of a face-off, bringing the score to 2-0. Then the Wild scored, bringing it to 2-1. Then the Wild tied it up at 2-2, and it was 2-2 after 2. Then the Wild took the lead, 3-2. Then Boone Jenner scored a goal, tying it back up at 3-3. Adam Fantilli scored his first career goal. I was so excited. My husband was laughing at me because he doesn't like hockey, but I was screaming. I was like, woohoo! Adam got his first goal. But anyway, got his first goal, giving the Blue Jackets the lead back 4-3. Then the Wild tied it up again, and the game went into overtime. And Roslovic scored the winning goal, bringing the score to 5-4. Dmitry Voronkov was recalled from the Cleveland Monsters in place of Patrick Laine, who is on IR. And they will be playing tonight against the Ducks, Thursday against the Canadiens, Saturday against the Islanders and Monday against the Stars. So looking forward to watching some more hockey. I'm actually really getting into it. And I'm starting to learn the rules a little bit, almost. I do understand offsides 100% now, so. Because the Blue Jackets have almost every score reviewed for offsides, so it's pretty easy to figure out what it is. It's pretty funny. They've actually won every review, too, so they know what they're looking for, too. So that is about it for the Blue Jackets. So let's go on to the Crew since we're on Columbus, and we will finish things up with the Cavs. The Crew played Montreal on Saturday. Cucho scored a goal at about 18 minutes, bringing the score to 1-1. And then at about the 49-minute mark, Darlington Nagbe, the team captain, scored a goal, bringing it to 2-1, and that was the final. With that win and a couple of other games falling the way the Crew needed them to, they finished third in the East and will play the 6th place Atlanta United team in a 3-match series for their first round of the playoffs. There's another round before them, but they're not in that. It's like a wild card round that's the lower seeded teams trying to get into the playoffs, basically. So it's kind of like the play-in basketball. But the Cruise series starts on November 1st. The first game will be in Columbus. Game 2 will be on November 7th in Atlanta, and Game 3 will be November 12th in Columbus if it's needed. So if either Atlanta or Columbus win the first 2 matches, then there will not be a Game 3. But if they're tied 1-1, there will be a Game 3. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm so excited for the Crew making the playoffs. My daughter walked in while I was watching the game, and it was pretty funny. She played soccer a little bit when she was little, like when she was like 5 or 6, and it was pretty funny. She claims now that she enjoyed it. Now she's 14. She said she loved playing, but when she actually played, all she did was like stand in one spot and stare. So, yeah. That is her enjoying playing, I guess. But anyway, she walked in the room while I was watching the game, and it was either right after or right as Cucho scored the goal, and they did a close-up of him, and she goes, "Ooh, he's cute." And then she sat down and watched the rest of the game with me. It was pretty funny. I was like, girl, that is not why we like sports. We like sports because sports are fun and competitive. We don't like them because the players are cute. But, whatever. Anyway, on to the Cavs. So, Jarrett Allen was not cleared to play in the final preseason game, but they are optimistic that he will be ready to go for the opener, so we shall see what happens with that. The Cavs did exercise the 4th-year option on Evan Mobley, so woohoo, we got him through 2025. Yay! But their last preseason game was at the Indiana Pacers. Max Strus and Evan Mobley seem to be developing some decent chemistry. Karis LeVert played very well in the game and is looking pretty solid, especially coming off the bench. At the half, they were down 56-51, and they ended up losing 109-104. They ended up 1-3 in preseason, with the only win coming against Maccabi Ra'anana. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's a lot of A's and N's and an R. But anywho, that was the only game they won and the only game that no starters played in. So, all the games were close, though. This one, they lost by 5. The other 2 that they lost, I believe they only lost by 1. I think one was like 108 to 107, and one was like 105 to 104 or something like that. The one they did win, they won like 120 to 89 or something ridiculous. But they were very close games in the ones that they did not win, so I'm not too concerned. The starters did not play a whole lot in the games that they did play in. At least one starter didn't play in 2 of the other 3 games. Jared Allen didn't play in any of them, so one starter didn't play in all of them for sure. But Darius Garland didn't play in the last game. Somebody else didn't play in the second game, and at this moment I can't remember who it was, but I don't know. It might have been. It wasn't Strus, I don't think it was Mobley, so maybe it was Donovan Mitchell. I don't remember, but anywho, so they did not have all 5 starters playing in any of the games, so not too concerned. We'll see what happens with Jared Allen and if he's good to go. They open the season tomorrow in Brooklyn against the Nets, and then they play again on Friday against Oklahoma City Thunder, Saturday against the Indiana Pacers, and Tuesday against the New York Knicks. So hopefully the first game against the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow is in New Jersey. The next 3 are at home. So at the very least, hopefully they have Jared Allen back on Friday for the home opener. But they did release their final roster today, and this is it. Number 1 will be Max Strus. Number 2, Ty Jerome. Number 3, Karis LeVert. Number 4, the one and only Evan Mobley. Number 5 is Sam Merrill. Number 9 will be Craig Porter Jr., and he is on a 2-way. Then number 10, Darius Garland. Number 12, Tristan Thompson. Number 13, Ricky Rubio, who is excused absence for mental health reasons. Isaiah Mobley, also on a 2-way contract, is number 15. Number 20 is George Niang. 21, Amani Bates, who is also on a 2-way. Number 30, Damian Jones. 31, the one and only Jared Allen. 32, Dean Wade. 35, Isaac Okoro. And 45, Donovan Mitchell. So we shall see. From what I am hearing, we'll see come tomorrow or Friday, whenever Jared Allen is back. The starting 5 are going to be Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. In the first preseason game, Karis LeVert played in Max Strus's place. Max Strus played in Evan Mobley's place, and Evan Mobley played in Jared Allen's place. So we will see how that, if that ends up being the lineup, if Jared Allen is not a go for the game tomorrow. And then if he is, I would guess that the lineup will be Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. But we'll see. Isaac Okoro has looked much better coming off the bench than he did last season in the starting lineup. So I think that will be good for him. Hopefully Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell can get some more a little more chemistry going. They seem to be a little bit off from time to time during the season last year. Like, I don't know, like they both wanted the ball a little too much and weren't always passing when they should. They would go for shots that they probably should have not gone for and passed the ball instead. But it all comes with the learning curve. But from what I understand, Max Strus and Evan Mobley have been working very closely together to build chemistry between the two of them. From what I saw in preseason, the two of them are playing well together. Like I said, Darius Garland didn't play in the last game, and I'm pretty sure it was Donovan Mitchell didn't play in the second preseason game. So hard to tell where things are at in preseason. So I am looking forward to the season getting going and the starters being out there a lot more. Hoping Ricky Rubio comes back to the team soon. They can really use him off the bench. But we'll see. Dean Wade played very well in the second halves of the preseason games when he was in. Amani Bates played very well when he was in. Evan Mobley, like I said last week, looks even better than he did last season. He looks like he's gotten bigger and stronger, and I am really looking forward to seeing how much he's developed as the season gets underway. And then, Darius Garland, he's such a streaky player, but when he's on, he is amazing. So I'm hoping he's more like he was 2 years ago than how he was last season. He was more off than on, I felt like, last season, but hopefully he gets his feet back under him and shows out. He did play really well in the second preseason game, so hopefully that will continue into the regular season. And, Donovan Mitchell is just a beast out there, so I don't know. I'm very interested to see how this all plays out, because they did lose a lot of their bench guys. They traded a couple, and they let some walk in free agency. So they don't have a lot of the same depth that they had last season, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. They lost a lot of the guys that were really good defenders, like Lamar Stevenson. So we'll see. I am very interested to see how it all comes together and plays out. I think if they don't get where they need to go, this may be JB's last season as coach. There was a lot of talk that last year was going to be his last season after the way that things went in the playoff series with the Knicks, but front office said that they are sticking with him, so we'll see. I really like him as a coach. I think the players really like him. I'm just not sure that he is that great at game planning playoff basketball. So hopefully he'll get some help there, and things will look a little better if and when we make it to the playoffs this season. But that is going to pretty much wrap things up for today. I think I got everything. Let me just double check. But let's see. Guardians? Yep. Did the Guardians. Did the Crew. Yep. That is pretty much everything. So we will see what ends up happening with the Browns. Oh, that's what I didn't say. The Browns will be playing the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle on Sunday. So we'll see what ends up happening with Deshaun Watson, and if they end up making any moves to bolster that running back room or that quarterback room, because as of right now, it is DTR and Deshaun Watson with a banged up shoulder. So, yeah. We'll see. I would expect if they're going to do anything, it will happen tonight or tomorrow. If they are going to do anything in preparation for Sunday. Of course, PJ Walker is still with the team on the practice squad, so he can still be at practice and everything. But they do have to sign him to the active roster in order for him to be active on Sunday. So there will possibly be some changes on the horizon. And then depending on how bad Jerome Ford's ankle is, I don't know if they'll do anything at running back or if they'll just stick with Kareem Hunt and Pierre Strong and possibly elevate Jordan Wilkins from the practice squad. I'm not positive on this because I know they've made a couple of changes since the initial practice squad, but I do not believe there is another running back on the practice squad. I believe Jordan Wilkins is it. So I don't know. We'll see. And then the Blue Jackets are playing tonight. They were actually supposed to be starting about 20 minutes ago. The game was slotted for 6:30, but apparently there was a power outage in downtown Columbus today. So they had to postpone the game. So it is starting now at 8:30, which I'm happy about because I was going to miss part of the game doing this podcast. So now I'm not going to miss any of the game. I'll be able to watch the whole game. So they will be getting underway. They are currently 3-2. They're looking to go 4-2, just like the Browns. Look at that. And Cavs get started tomorrow. And then that's about it. And I will keep an eye on things with the Guardians manager search and give you some updates on that if there are any next week. And we will, of course, have, Browns, college football, Blue Jackets, and Cavs next week. There won't be much to talk about with the Crew or the Guardians, but like I said, if there is anything, I will be sure to bring it to you. But before I close things out, I want to talk a little bit about our sponsor, Planet Jerky. Their premium brisket jerky comes in 7 flavors that range from $10 to $20 per pack. And you get free shipping on orders over $50. So be sure to check them out at planetjerky.net. That is all for tonight. Thank you for joining me, Jen B, on the Show of the Land. Be sure to follow me on X, Instagram, and Threads at BelieveLandGirl, on TikTok at Jen, JENN, .believeland, and you can follow the show on X at Show of the Land IE. Next up, the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax. And be sure to catch me next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on the Show of the Land for more on Cleveland and Columbus sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Have a great night, Ohio.
Network.